A correct combination of axle and wheel angles gives a stable ride and at the same time minimizes tire wear. Sometimes you need to measure wheel angles and axle positions to find the cause of different problems. Inclined rear axles or incorrect wheel alignment can cause abnormal and irregular tire wear on the front wheels. Poor road holding qualities such as wobbling or pulling sideways may be caused by incorrect wheel alignment. One should also check measurements after minor incidents such as driving into a ditch, as there's a risk that the chassis may have been damaged. The toe angle is the inclination of the wheels in the vehicle's driving direction. You set toe in and toe out by changing the length of the track rod. Camber is the wheel's angle of inclination. Camber can be adjusted on vehicles equipped with a front axle with individual suspension. You do this with shims which you place between the triangle arm fittings and the frame. Both toe-in and camber are influenced by the weight of the vehicle. Positive angle, that is an axle that's angled backwards, leads to a tendency for the vehicle to move straight ahead. KPI, the kingpin inclination, is the leaning angle of the kingpin sideways. KPI influences the steering and twisting forces when driving on uneven roads. Caster and KPI aren't adjustable on Scania's front axles with individual suspension. The pattern of tread wear on tyres can reveal different faults. Abnormal as well as even wear can be caused by incorrect tyre pressure. Too high and too low tyre pressures increase the wear. With new vehicles, the most common reasons for slanting, worn front tyres are wrong wheel angles or inclined axles. Incorrectly set toe-in shows up as a sloping pattern of wear from one shoulder to the other. You can detect it by erasing the tread or by the appearance of what tyre manufacturers have described as raw eggs on one side of the longitudinal tread lathes. In countries with right-hand traffic and sloping road surfaces, too high toe-in causes wear on the right-hand front tyre, and too high toe-out wear on the left-hand tyre. Incorrect camber causes faster tyre wear. A slightly inclined rear axle, especially on 6x2 coaches, usually manifests itself as wear on the front tyres, usually toe-in wear on the one tyre and toe-out on the other. Start the wheel alignment procedure by checking that the workshop floor is flat, both along its length and breadth. Check the tyre pressure, dimension and wear. Repair possible audible leaks in the vehicle's compressed air system, especially in the air suspension system. Now it's important to check and set bellow heights both at the front and the rear. Ensure that the heights remain constant during the entire wheel alignment process. Check the front and rear modules' alignment to the body, as well as all axle positions and inclination within the respective modules. A prerequisite here for a correct front wheel alignment is to ensure that the rear axle is correctly adjusted. The first step to take when checking the straight-ahead position of the steering is to lift up the vehicle on swivel plates. Make sure all the steered wheels are standing on swivel plates. Block the rear wheels, but don't apply the parking brake. Turn the steering wheel from one end position to the other so that the swivel plates settle into a fixed position. Carry out wheel alignment with the front wheels in the straight ahead position. Check the marks on the steering gear. The lower steering column joint clamp slot must mark the mark on the power steering gear valve housing or be turned 180 degrees outwards. Check that the angle gear is in its straight ahead position according to the marking. The upper steering column joint must be positioned with the clamp slot pointing forward. At the same time, ensure the lower steering column joint is positioned with the clamp spot turned 90 degrees from the angle gear marking. It's also vital that the steering wheel is in its straight ahead position. The intermediate drop arms must be parallel to the frame beams. Measure the position on both sides. If necessary, adjust the drag link. If the vehicle has a steered tag axle, check the measurements of the center position of the master cylinder. It's easiest to measure with this gauge, included in the ZF assortment of tools. Let's go on now with the fitting of the tools. There are many brands of measuring equipment available. We use the Scania laser measuring system 588-656. The wheel alignment is precision work, and it's thus important that the equipment is in first-class condition. Fit the suction cup rules on the body sides. Fit a wheel adapter on both sides at 45-degree angles for easier adjustment. The claw clutches can be set in several positions against the rim. Twist them until they fit properly. Adjust the wheel adapter horizontally by using the spirit level. Fit a laser to the wheel adapter. For the best results, you need to check and calibrate the laser and elbow gauge on both sides of the vehicle. Adjust the laser so you have the same measurements on both auxiliary rules. The calibration must be done on both sides of the vehicle. Now the laser beam is parallel to the body side. Hang up the measuring rods so that they level with the wheel center. The measure scales are used for setting toe-in. Adjust the scales so you get the same readings on both sides. As a final step before measuring, check the rims and compensate any warps you might detect. Now we've come to the measuring part itself. Caster is a measure for the axle inclination. It can't be adjusted, but it's vital that it is within the tolerances, as it is decisive for the other measurements. If the caster is incorrect, the most likely cause is a damaged wheel suspension or incorrectly fitted front module. If the caster has a high positive value, that is, the axle leans markedly, the vehicle will be more course stable but heavier to turn with. Continue by measuring the camber. You adjust the angle by placing shims in the triangle arm's inner fittings. Now, for safety reasons, use only shims designed for front suspension. Note here that you must always position the shims on the inside. Placing them on the outer side will weaken the connection to the shearing socket between the triangle arm and the vertical arm. This is very important for road safety. Set the camber angle according to the specified value. Tighten the retaining bolts with a torque wrench. Again, this is an important safety measure. When setting toe-in, ensure the steering wheel is in its straight ahead position. To lock the steering assembly in the straight ahead position, we suggest you place two 140mm long bolts between the intermediate chamber and the intermediate steering arms. Measure and adjust toe-in on every wheel individually. A 5-to-1 relation between camber and toe-in will produce minimum tyre wear. To arrive at this value, you first convert the degrees of the camber angle to millimeters per meter with the help of the appropriate form in the workshop manual. A positive toe-in means that the wheels steer inwards. Toe-in is the wheel angle which has the biggest influence on the vehicle's road-holding qualities. Check and adjust the measurements until the wheels are correctly aligned. Finish the task by tightening the clamping bolt with a torque wrench. And remember to remove the locking bolts. There we go. That wasn't too difficult, was it? Now you've made an important contribution to road safety and economy.